Okay, so let's get right into it. Way up in the high north, the massive island of Greenland has suddenly become the center of a new global power struggle. What started as a surprising geopolitical idea has escalated fast and is putting the entire Arctic on the brink of a major international crisis.
And this quote, it comes straight from the people of Greenland. It really captures the heart of this whole thing. For them, this isn't about politics. It's a fight for their home. The resistance really kicked off right here, in Nuuk. Thousands of people poured into the snow-covered streets for what turned out to be the biggest coordinated demonstration the island has ever seen. So let's talk about that flashpoint. It all started with this incredible outcry from the Greenlandic people themselves. The scale of this protest was just staggering. We're talking nearly a quarter of Nuuk's entire population. I mean, in a capital city of less than 20,000 people, a turnout like that sends a message so loud the world simply can't ignore it.
And their message was crystal clear. Greenland is not for sale. You saw it on signs, you heard it in chants all across the city. It became the rallying cry of the entire movement.
And that feeling went way beyond Greenland shores. At a solidarity rally over in Copenhagen, you had statements like this that just cut right to the core of it. This is a fight about national identity and the fundamental right to self-rule.
So, what lit the fuse? Well, the catalyst was a direct and very public threat of a U.S. takeover.
This was the phrase that changed everything. The White House repeatedly suggested that the U.S. would get Greenland one way or the other, and that just fueled fears that this wasn't an offer, it was a demand.
And look, this wasn't just speculation. The White House made its position completely unambiguous. This official confirmation from the press secretary pretty much erased any doubt about what the U.S. wanted.
But why the intense focus on Greenland? Well, for Washington, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's all about national security in a totally new era of global competition.
To really get the U.S. position, you have to understand this concept: Arctic geopolitics. You know, the region isn't just a frozen wasteland anymore. It's the new frontier for resources and strategic military positioning, and you've got all the major powers trying to get a piece of it.
The U.S. calculation here is basically a geopolitical chess match. Washington has said pretty openly that if it doesn't secure Greenland, a rival power like China or Russia will. That makes the island a critical piece on the board that they believe cannot fall into a competitor's hands.
Now, this kind of high-stakes move didn't happen in a vacuum, right? It sent shockwaves across the Atlantic, and it forced America's closest NATO allies to respond directly. So, in a direct response, key European allies in NATO, we're talking France, Germany, Sweden, Norway, they started deploying forces to Greenland to participate in Danish-led exercises. The goal was to beef up Arctic security.
And Denmark, which has constitutional ties to Greenland, is taking this threat extremely seriously. The Danish Prime Minister made it clear this isn't just talk. They're treating it as a real and persistent ambition.
And just as the protests in Nuuk were winding down, the U.S. escalated things again. It announced a brand new 10% import tax on goods from Denmark and other European allies who were pushing back. Suddenly, the standoff wasn't just political, it was economic.
So here we are. We've got protests, military deployments, and now tariffs. It's a dangerous standoff. Let's do a quick recap of where all the key players stand right now. The breakdown is pretty clear. Greenland is standing firm on self-rule. The United States is still actively pursuing acquisition. Denmark is actively resisting that, and NATO allies are boosting their military footprint in the region. Basically, all sides are digging in.
All this maneuvering for position in the Arctic, it really raises an alarming question, doesn't it? Are we watching the opening moves of a new Cold War? One that's going to be fought across the icy top of the world.
As this whole story keeps developing, here are 4 things you'll want to watch. The real economic impact of these U.S. tariffs, the outcome of those allied military drills, what Russia and China do next, and maybe most important of all, the unwavering resolve of the people of Greenland.
Which brings us to the final critical question. As the polar ice continues to melt and new shipping lanes open up, this fight over one island could just be a preview of what's to come. Is the struggle for the Arctic about to become the world's next great flashpoint?